the most productive day. First time we ever actually had to go back, like I've ever had to be called back in the middle of the route and told to go home. The road conditions are unsafe, so unfortunately I was not able to pick up all the trash that I wanted to. So here goes my plans for Saturday. Anywho, well, that's my day. Fucking, it's only supposed to have been like a couple inches of snow, but instead we got a full-on blizzard, so, well, another reason to prep. Another reason to prep. Don't know that the storm is upon you until it gets here, so. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hello, guys. Diorce here. So, I want to share with you guys some lessons that I took from Wednesday night's storm, winter storm, okay? So, on Wednesday, over here in central Colorado, we had a nasty blizzard that rolled in from the northwest. We had hurricane condition winds. In fact, it was actually the fastest recorded wind speeds we'd ever had in Colorado. I've heard two different reports of wind speeds of 91 miles per hour and wind speeds up to 96 miles per hour. That was pretty freaking crazy. The original weather forecast that day was only supposed to be 2 inches of snow. 2 inches of snow. We were under a blizzard warning, but originally it was supposed to be like 1 to 2 inches. And then they ended up changing their forecast a couple more times, changed it to 4 to 6 and then 8 to 12. I mean, at the end of the day, what I estimated with what I could see from the snowdrifts and then the lack of snow in some of the open spaces, I figured we probably got somewhere between maybe 5 and 6 inches of snow. That would have been my guess. Had it been double that, things probably would have been shut down a lot longer than what they were. So, lessons I want to take from this storm, okay? So, I was called into work that day, okay? I was called into work. The night before it started raining, so the night before it had been Tuesday night, started raining, and it rained all night, and it rained into the morning, and I was actually beginning to really wonder whether or not this storm was actually going to come, okay? So, that'd be one lesson to take. Don't ever underestimate any of these storms that come, blowing through. Okay. So it rained, and then I would say probably, well, let's see, it started turning to cold rain, okay? And I would say probably about maybe 9:30. It's when the first few flakes of snow started to fall, so it ended up turning into a rainy sleet mixture and then turned into snow. And then we ended up getting the cold winds from the north that blew, and all that rain on the ground, it froze. I'm not kidding you, it froze, all of it. There are some areas of Colorado where they got hammered on with the rain right before it got cold and started turning to snow. Okay. But yeah, I'm not, like, when I tell you this, I'm not kidding you. There was at least 1 inch of ice on the road. Okay, 1 inch of ice on the ground, 1 inch of ice on the road, maybe more in some places. 1 inch. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, if I could have found a way to cut through that ice and put a ruler, there would have been about 1 inch of ice. But anyway, so middle of work, okay, forgot my phone. They were trying to contact me and try to let me know that, hey, everybody's getting called back to the shop. We're going to finish these routes up on Saturday, okay? So, yeah, like I said, I ended up being the last one going to the shop as the weather ended up getting progressively worse. It got to the point where, like I said, the snow was sticking to my windows, my side mirrors on my truck. And when I say my truck, I'm talking about my garbage truck that I was using. Okay. And I was always constantly having to get out and clear it out. And I noticed the winds were picking up pretty good, but because I was in a neighborhood and because I was pretty far south where the storm was actually taking place, it wasn't as bad. So I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know the extent of how things were really taking place. Okay. All right. So that day, I actually drove my pickup truck to work instead of driving my car. I normally, 99% of the time, I'll normally almost always drive my car. Almost always drive my car unless for some reason I don't, okay? That day, I drove the pickup truck. I'm glad I did. I am so, so glad I did. And one of the reasons why is because I've got greater ground clearance, okay? Now, the truck I drive does not have four-wheel drive on it. It's strictly two-wheel only. And it handled really well in the snow. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why. Because one, the autumn before, the fall before, okay? So probably been about October or November. I went out and ponied up the extra money and bought 4 brand new tires, a full matching set of brand new tires all the way around the truck, okay? These were, I think these were like Cooper Discover AT2 tires, but I mean, they were right. They're made by the tire company Big O. Okay, so they're made by Cooper, but the tire company that contracts them out to make them is called Big O. They're also a tire retailer, so they have their own name and logo stamped on the sidewalls of the tires, but they're same tire, okay? They're the exact same tire. I did probably about an extensive 1.5 year research on these tires, okay? I've been looking at getting either Cooper or getting General Grabber, okay? So that was one of the things, okay? And that, okay, like I said, between that, the ground clearance, the fact that I was not driving my vehicle like an idiot, and I also had a full tank of gas. Those 4 things right there, okay? Those 4 things literally made the difference between me being able to keep moving, keep going, and me being a statistic, okay? Me getting stuck on the road. There were a lot of people that got stuck. A lot of people who got really ballsy when they shouldn't have, who were driving, like I said, they're all-wheel drive vehicles. You know, they're all-wheel drive SUVs, four-wheel, you know, they're 4x4 pickups. And I seen, like I said, I seen a lot of these people pass me, and then I ended up later on passing them, watched them wiped out in a ditch, you know, or off the side of the road, you know, like I said, stuck in a snowbank because they were driving, like I said, they were driving like they stole their vehicles. They were driving as if there was no snow on the ground at all. You know, just because you have four-wheel drive doesn't mean that you're invulnerable to, you know, Mother Nature. All right. Now, some other lessons learned that I took from this whole winter excursion here. And these are also lessons that I'll probably, you know, work into a potential bug out plan for SHTF. One of the things I want to bring up that I didn't have that, you know, that probably, you know, would have come in handy if I got myself stuck. I didn't have a shovel. I did not have a shovel. Okay, I'm not going to lie. That was my bad. I did not have a shovel. I have road flares in my truck. I have an extra 5 gallons of gas in my truck. I have a spare battery for my truck. I have a 72-hour kit that has essentially enough food and supplies to last, you know, 2 people, you know, 3 days. I did not have a shovel. Did not have a shovel. Um, I'm glad I didn't, I'm glad I never, got to a point where I was like, oh man, I think I'm gonna need a shovel. Never did. But, so another lesson learned, okay? Now, the other lesson learned here from this storm is like I said, the fact that I had spent, or like, it took me almost, like I said, it took me probably about 8.5 hours, maybe more. I made multiple attempts to try to go home. Made multiple attempts to try to go home, and I couldn't go home, no matter how hard I tried. I didn't go home that day. I ended up having to stay the night at a hotel, but that's besides the point. Okay. Well, I'm trying to reiterate here. If you plan on bugging out during SHTF and if you don't get going while the getting is good, you ain't going nowhere. Okay. I had 4 different routes. 4 different routes that I could think of off the top of my head. The 2 obvious ones, wasn't able to take them, okay? But I had 4 routes planned out to try to get back home. All of them were blocked. Every single one. Whether it be through disabled cars, stuck in snowdrifts, or it'd be the actual police or sheriff's, department blocking the road, physically barricading the roads with their police cruisers, not letting anybody pass. Which is going to bring me on to my next point, okay? You want to have alternate routes for bugging out, okay? So, and with that comes, make sure your tank is full. Make sure your gas tank is full. Make sure you have plenty of extra fuel. I am so glad I had a full tank of gas before all that started up, because after everything was said and done, I burned through almost a half tank of gas attempting to go home. Never got to go home. Almost a half tank of gas. I didn't drive. Shoot. I didn't drive, say, more than 120 miles. 0 to 90 or 120 miles between me driving around in circles throughout town trying to avoid all the freaking traffic jams and all the mess. Okay? And I want to put in perspective to you, like, for those of you who don't, like I said, don't understand how severe this storm was. Okay, like I said, hurricane force winds, 91 to 96 miles an hour. Okay, those were the recorded wind speeds, 91 to 96 miles an hour. That snow was flying like nobody's business. Okay, that snow was flying like nobody's business. There was, like, you've heard of whiteout conditions, right? That was true whiteout. That was no joke. True whiteout conditions. Okay. There were times where it got so bad. 1 second I could barely see the road. Okay, 1 second I can barely see the road with all the snow flying, with the partial whiteout. Okay, I could barely see the disabled vehicles off to the sides, and some of them stranded out in the middle of the lanes. And then the next second, freaking white wall of snow just blows right over me. Blows right over me. Can't see anything. Okay, literally cannot see the front half of my hood to my pickup truck. Couldn't see it. That is some scary stuff. That is really scary. Not knowing where you're going. And if you try, like I said, most people's reactions are to slam on the brakes. You don't get that option. Like, if you try to slam on your brakes, you're going to lock up your wheels. You're going to probably go into a tailspin or fishtail, and you're going to end up slamming into somebody or something, or you're going to end up in the ditch yourself. So I had to slow down, but I couldn't come to a stop. Couldn't come to a complete stop, because some of the stuff I was going downhill. I was going downhill on a sheet of ice and snow. Yeah, that's some scary stuff. The other thing that was pretty scary is that when you got an accident just over a hill that is so badly obstructed with the blanket of snow flying through the air, you couldn't see it until you were practically up on top of it. So, like I said, some lessons to take for SHTF. Like I said, you have alternate routes. Your routes could get blocked. Somebody could set up a barricade, try to set up an ambush, whatnot, drop a couple trees across the road, or put a whole bunch of disabled cars out there. I mean, I know that wasn't this. This is a snowstorm we're talking about, but making some comparisons here. Okay. The other thing too, you have to be on your game. When you're driving, you have to be on your game. Like I said, I probably hadn't got no more than maybe a mile or 2 miles out from work, but probably less than 2 miles out from work, and I seen something flying out the distance, going down the street, flying out the distance. I couldn't hardly make out what the hell it was or where it was going exactly because the winds were just downright crazy. As it turns out, it was a piece of billboard. I wish I would have had like a dash cam going. That way I could have got that footage. That would have been some pretty cool footage. I had to do an evasive maneuver to avoid that stupid thing from colliding with my truck. Yeah, a piece of billboard came off and was flying down the street, and I had to frickin' swerve to avoid the damn thing. Yeah, it gets better. And actually, I'll probably show you some other photos of some stuff that got damaged. Unfortunately for my folks, they spent a lot of money on a really nice, heavy-duty, all-metal construction carport that was rated to withstand wind speeds of up to 140 miles an hour. Damn thing collapsed. In 90-mile-an-hour winds. So, yeah, their RV got damaged, and so did their house. It's not real serious, but when I got a chance to take a look at it, I could see the anchor bolts that were driven into the concrete holding that shelter down were clearly bent and stretched. And it was literally a miracle that that thing was built in such close proximity to the house, because had it not been for the eave to the house keeping that shelter from going back and forth too much, that thing would easily snap the bolts and would have easily just been flying downwind, downrange, probably into somebody's yard or somebody's house. Somebody probably could have got killed. It's a good thing it didn't happen. But that shelter, it's gone. I would say that they're better off having somebody build a new one. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. Other things I seen while I was driving home, I seen some old semi-trailers that were being used as billboard advertisements. Seen 2 of them got flipped over. I'd seen a whole bunch of trees, like mature pine trees. Okay, these are big trees. They're mature. They're not little saplings. Okay, big pine trees. They got snapped right at the base of their roots, completely overturned. Seen a whole bunch of traffic lights that they're hung from wires. Seen quite a few of those where they were twisted sideways because of the wind. They're supposed to be pointing forward, but they're pointing to the side because the wind was that fierce. See a lot of dead down lights. Like I said, it was some crazy stuff. I'm gonna show you what clips I got here, and I might show you some still images. Okay, but just want you guys to know, like I said, that's the main thing you should take from these lessons learned. If you're going to be driving in a storm, or potentially going to be in an area where a winter storm is going to be prevalent, you might want to make sure your vehicle is fully prepared winter-wise. That truck, by chance, just happened to be prepared winter-wise. It was more or less prepared for SHTF, not for a localized disaster, but it worked out just fine. Okay. You need to make sure your stuff is squared away. Okay. Make sure your vehicle is mechanically sound. I actually ended up rescuing somebody in that storm. I saved them from themselves, from trying to turn themselves into a human popsicle. They were in they were in a Subaru, all-wheel drive Subaru. They were stuck out in the snow. I'm not sure if they high-centered themselves or why they pulled over, but they had sat there long enough that snowdrifts were forming around their car and that they weren't getting out anytime soon. Tried jump start, and like I said, they tried backing out. I was going to try to tow them out, and then their car died, and I tried jump starting their battery. I couldn't get their car to jump start, and I was like, look, man, we're going to have to get moving because the snow's already starting to build up around my tires while I'm waiting here for you. And like I said, he was going to try to walk home, and I was like, no, dude, don't walk home. Or actually, it wasn't walk home. He was going to try to walk to a friend's house, which was 3 minutes away by car if the road conditions were cooperative. He could have very well easily got himself lost, and he could have probably froze to death, or at the very least got frostbite, because he was not dressed for the weather. Not dressed at all. He was wearing like sweatpants, or I don't know, some kind of a pants that's not really very good in winter storms. He was wearing like a hoodie, and he had like a light jacket. It's like, these are not items you wear when you got a full-blown blizzard. See, like what I'm wearing right now, this and a hat, this freaking old worn-out Carhartt coat, that is what you want to wear during a winter storm, okay? But anyhow, like I said, make sure your vehicle is prepped, ready to go, man. Make sure it is ready to go. Like I said, fully, at the very least, if you can't afford to put brand new tires on, I mean, you want to make sure that you at least have 4/32 of an inch of tread depth, so that way you can displace the snow when you drive. So, minimum DOT standard requires that your tires must have at least 2/32 of an inch of tread depth in order for them to be safe to drive on the road. Okay. DOT also, this is not a requirement though, this is a suggestion, suggests that you have at least 4/32 of an inch of tread depth, so that way you have enough tread there to displace water, snow, when you're driving across lakes at icy and snowy conditions, or even on wet pavement. Okay. But forgive my French here, but you got a lot of people out there that don't change their tires. They don't ever give their tires a second thought. And there were a lot of people out there that were driving around on Mexican racing slicks. For those of you who don't know what that is a bald tire with no tread on it. A lot of people doing that. Which it blows my mind, man. Blows my mind. Why would you do that? Friggin' you're a native person from Colorado. Okay? You need to make sure that you got some good tires on your vehicle for wintertime. Yeah, don't be driving on no Mexican racing slicks, okay? I also want to bring up too, when I was talking to that guy that I was rescuing, okay, he was a kid that was going to the police academy. I told him, like, I think it'd be a good idea you should probably have a kit put together. You should have your car ready to go. He's like, yeah, I know. I think it'd be a good idea. He said, but what he told me, and it blew my mind. I mean, it shouldn't have, but it did. It's just, well, I've never, what he says, like, I should, but I've never had a need for it. The weather, like I said, the weather's just now starting to get worse. It's like, no, I told him, like, no, that's false. There's always a need for it. Okay. What I'm trying to get at here is that it's better to have this stuff and not need it, or desperately need it and not have it. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Okay. So, yeah. make sure that you got the minimum required tread depth. You'll do a lot better if you got a lot more tread depth, okay? Okay. If you can't afford brand new tires, make sure your tires are in good shape, okay? You don't necessarily have to go out and buy all 4 brand new tires unless you got something that is 4-wheel drive, okay? You can get away with replacing 2 and 2 and then rotating them. And when I say rotating them, I don't mean driving on them. I mean actually taking the front tire off and swapping it off for the rear tire. Okay, that's rotation. For those of you smart asses out there. All right. The other major thing that's, like I said, just as important, make sure you've got a full tank of gas. Make sure you have a full tank of gas. Because worst case scenario happens, you find yourself stranded out in the ditch in one of these storms, you can at least keep your car running, keep the heater on so you don't freeze to death. They had to send the National Guard out to go rescue people. People who have spun out in the ditch, or people who got stranded just because they simply ran out of fuel. Anyhow, I've let this run on long enough. I'm going to let you guys see those other 2 clips. I'm Diorce. You guys have yourselves a good one. I'm out. Bye.
Holy crap. Look at that. Oh, by the way, I still can't get home. I'm still stuck. But look at that. I am over here at a Lowe's that's closed. Look at that. You look at that. Holy crap. These 2 sheds got completely turned upside down, and now they're out in the street. That is just absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. I already did my Good Samaritan thing for today. Helped somebody out. I tried to see if I could get them unstuck, but shoot, man. Their car didn't want to be unstuck. Their car battery died or something. I don't know. I tried jumping on. I was going to try towing them out, but after their car battery died and their car wouldn't turn over, I knew it was game over, at least for them. So I asked them if they had a friend nearby, and it's like, yeah, I got a buddy who lives 3 minutes down that way. So we drove what wasn't 3 minutes that way, but could have been 3 minutes that way had the road conditions been better. And I took him home. Took him, well, not home, but I took him over to his buddy's house, and yeah, potentially saved one person's life from becoming a human popsicle. Right now it don't look that bad, but I'm telling you, it's these gusts of wind, man, they blow all the snow up, and it just automatically becomes white out, like literally a wall of white. I almost drove into a couple of parked cars, and I almost drove straight into a snowdrift and almost got myself stuck. I am so glad I spent the extra money and got new tires all the way around this truck, because that literally made the difference between me getting stuck somewhere where I didn't want to be and being able to continue to freely move. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and go find me a hotel, because I don't know what the hell to do. I don't think I'm going home tonight. I'm kind of pissed off. My Saturday, I'm not going to have a Saturday, and if the weather keeps up like it is, probably not going to have a Sunday either. Anyhow, alright. I guess I will see you guys later. Bye.